Dr. Naoki Yahagi had spent over 30 years working as an emergency physician, witnessing countless patients on the brink of death. In 2011, while still actively practicing at the age of 55, he wrote a groundbreaking book titled, Human Do Not Die: Clinical Doctors' Reflections on Spirituality and Divine Will. The book caused a massive stir as it was one of the rare cases where a scientist, especially a frontline medical professional, openly discussed the existence of the soul. Dr. Naoki Yahagi was no ordinary academic theorist. He had dedicated his life to emergency medicine, dealing with life and death firsthand. When his book was published, it became an instant bestseller, sparking widespread media coverage. Surprisingly, rather than being met with skepticism from the medical community, many fellow doctors supported his ideas. "We've seen similar things," they admitted, reinforcing his belief that death was not the end. His conviction stemmed from a deeply personal experience. As a child in 3rd grade, he had suffered a severe head injury in a car accident. He was unconscious for days, nearly losing his life. Though doctors feared long-term complications, he miraculously recovered without any lasting effects. But something had changed. From that moment on, he realized he had an unusual ability. He could sense and sometimes even see the souls of others. At first, these sensations were vague, like an unseen Wi-Fi signal. Over time, they became clearer. He could perceive an ethereal presence hovering over a person's body, slightly overlapping but not entirely merged. It was most visible when someone was close to death. At that moment, the soul would begin to separate. When this occurred, Dr. Yahagi instinctively knew the patient had little time left. His colleagues soon recognized this uncanny ability, often turning to him to predict a patient's fate. He had spent his life surrounded by the dying. Never married, he lived in the hospital, constantly monitoring critical patients. Through years of observation, he noticed a pattern: near-death experiences, NDEs, did not always occur in the final moments before death. Some patients reported such visions days or even weeks before passing. And the images they described were eerily similar: fields of flowers, radiant light, encounters with deceased loved ones. To Dr. Yahagi, this was not hallucination or imagination. It was proof that another world existed, right alongside our own, though invisible to most. He likened it to a hidden dimension, only perceivable when one's soul loosened its attachment to the body. The more fragile the body became, the more vividly one could see this other realm. Unlike dreams, which fade from memory, those who experienced NDEs recalled their visions with crystal clarity, even years later. And, intriguingly, time in this world did not function the way it did in ours. Many patients described seeing clocks or the sun, yet they never moved. The world they glimpsed seemed timeless, existing beyond the constraints of human perception. Dr. Yahagi did not claim to have all the answers. He could not scientifically prove where souls went after death. But what he had witnessed convinced him of one thing: humans do not truly die. The body may perish, but the essence, the soul, moves on to the next stage of existence. That he believed this transition was not to be feared. The visions were overwhelmingly peaceful and beautiful, hinting that whatever lay beyond was a place of comfort. And so, he continued his work, not just as a doctor, but as a man who had peered into the unknown, offering hope to those facing life's greatest mystery.
Came into my world with love, so softly